And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, and I am joined this week virtually via the internet with my co-host Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how you doing?
Doing fantastic, Rich. I'm glad to be home this week, the week before Thanksgiving, a little break from travel. So it's all good. And I see you're at home base as well.
I am. In fact, we were at the Ingram Micro conference in Denver earlier this week. We're going to be talking about Ingram a little bit on the show here. It was actually snowing in Denver yesterday when I flew back home. I assumed I was going to be flying home into warmer weather. It's actually kind of chilly here in Seattle right now.
Yeah, I was able to escape the night before you left after doing a couple of sessions for Ingram. And it had just begun snowing at about 6 p.m. that night, and we had to have our wings de-iced. Of course, reminding me that we were in Denver, but made it home without any hiccups. So there we go.
Well, let's plunge into our top story of the week, top news story here of the week, which is Ingram related. And they announced a number of things. It was an interesting show. I thought the content that Ingram presented was interesting. They had some things to say about measures that they're going to be putting in place to drive partner satisfaction in terms of rolling out tools and automation and creating a more proactive kind of inventory management system. I could go on, but the particular item that they announced that I thought was most interesting, sort of least expected and maybe most relevant to ChannelPro readers is they introduced a financing program specifically for MSPs. Now, this may not sound like all that radical development, but it really kind of is. Obviously distributors have been doing financing for a long time. But generally, they're financing the purchase of products, hardware, software, et cetera, relatively short terms. You can collateralize the loan. You can be really reasonably sure that you're going to get the money back. Ingram has really taken pride in recent years in being very creative and flexible about financing. They encourage their partners to come to them with needs that maybe nobody else is willing to consider. And a lot of their MSP partners have been coming to them and saying, look, I'm new to managed services. I don't have a lot of recurring revenue yet. I've got some cash flow constraints. I've got a deal that I can make with a customer here, but I need to pay sales commissions up front. Maybe it's a managed firewall offering. I've got to buy the firewalls there. I've got some upfront costs that I need to cover, and I don't really have the cash flow to do it. Can you help me? And Ingram has been doing that actually for a number of years, sort of on a trial basis. Just using their own capital, basically. And it's been very successful for them. It's been much appreciated by the MSPs. And the thought was, what can we do to scale this out? And it took them a while to pull that off, actually, because they went to a lot of different financial institutions to partner with on that. And most of them wanted nothing to do with it. It's like you're telling me, basically, this is a service provider, a company that's new to services. They're trying to finance services, so like a 3-year deal here on something that they've never done before. Way too risky for us as a bank. So it took Ingram a while to find somebody who would partner with them on it, but they did. And now they've scaled this out. And basically, this program is available to any Ingram partner who offers managed services. There is sort of an asterisk at the end of that. They're only going to do it with somebody who they consider a good and loyal partner. They don't quantify exactly what that means. There's no particular threshold that you have to clear, but if they view you as somebody who occasionally does business with Ingram but takes most of their business to Synex or whoever, you're probably not going to get that financing from them. But if you are a solid Ingram partner and you're getting into managed services and you need to cover some upfront costs, there's actually financing available for that now.
So helpful, so critical to IT providers, no matter what size you are, but really, really, I think impactful for smaller partners that are struggling to really get their footing in selling services and things like that. And, one of my sessions at the Ingram One event was all about, developing killer proposals. And one of the tips that I had was to always include a finance option in every one of your proposals. So give your clients and prospects every opportunity to pay you in the way that they want to. So, and I've been doing this, I did it in my MSP for years. Just give them the option because, again, giving someone an option to decide how they want to do business with you is much better than giving them an ultimatum to make them decide whether or not they want to do business with you. So I think this is a great development and unique. And like you said, it's the architecture of how the program is designed that is the unique differentiator here, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, and it's not as if I've researched this super carefully, but I'm not aware of anyone else who's offering financing on managed services deals. And for the reasons that I cited, but these are multi-year deals.
Yep.
The people who most want the financing are new to managed services. They might not even be doing it a year from now. It's kind of a risky proposition. So I'm not surprised the banks have been hesitant to do it. I don't know very many other offerings like this out there.
Yeah, I think when you can roll in, I mean, now my mind is really kind of working. So now you can cover all of your onboarding costs. You can cover all of the infrastructure upgrade costs. You can uh, incorporate all of the, hard costs as well as labor costs to freight over a 3-year period and have that all financed so that that eliminates the price objection of a prospect or customer when you say, oh, well, here's my onboarding fee, here's the infrastructure upgrade fee and all this. No, you start month one and this is your fee. I think it's awesome.
Well, let's dive into your tip of the week here, because obviously this has to do with sales presentations, which is always a really good topic to cover with our audience here. There are a lot of really important questions to ask, but there's one question in particular, Eric, that you want people to always ask.
That's right. It is, and I'm going to be bold and say it. It has to be said. It's the most important question you can ask a prospect or a client right before you conduct your sales presentation. Now, understand this is in the sales process after you've qualified them, you've got your proposal built and all that. You've got a sales presentation. You're going to come in. You've qualified for budget. You've done all the right things, and you're going to sit down now with a client and deliver your sales presentation and ask for the business. The question you must always ask before you begin the sales presentation, after you've done your warm up with the client, ready to go, has anything changed since we last spoke? That is the most important question. And I'll tell you why, Rich, because sometimes things have changed, and sometimes those changes have eroded or eaten away at the budget that was allocated for the project. I had this happen to me many times when I was, running my MSP practice. I'd show up to a client's location, ready to go, excited, ready to close the opportunity. And hey, so has anything changed since we spoke last? Well, actually, yes, our boiler blew up. I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about that, but the only question I have for you is, did that impact the budget that we had allocated for this project? Yes, it has. Okay. When a client says something has changed, and the second follow-up question always is, has that impacted our budget that we allocated for this project? If they say yes, it has, then you do not conduct your sales presentation because you have to have 3 things, Rich, in order to close a sale. You have to have a pain, a solution, and budget. And when the client says it's impacted the budget, the correct response or the correct approach now is to step back and requalify now. Okay, how much budget do we have left? Now you've got to figure that out. And if there is some budget, maybe you can adjust your revision of the proposal to phase that project in, maybe taking the top priority things first and doing that, the next quarter getting the client to agree to find more budget until we get the project done. Now, I'll also add that it can have the opposite effect. So I've had several such scenarios where I've had the same situation, ready to go, ready to present the solution, ask my question, the client says, yes, something has changed. Oh, what has changed? Well, we've decided to open up a new location. Really? I am not going to present my sales presentation the way I had prepared because now I'm going to go back and requalify because now I can revise that proposal to include potentially a move, a migration, supporting this new location, facility, etc. So remember, if the client answers yes, something has changed, requalify. do not present your sales proposal as you had prepared, because you're not going, if there's no budget, you're not going to close it. And if there is a new opportunity, you certainly don't want to leave anything on the table and come back with another proposal after you presented this proposal. You want to get it all in one fell swoop if you can.
And if you're like me and you like to go into a meeting like that prepared, I'm just, as I'm listening to you talk about this, I know that I would be thinking to myself, I'm going to ask that question for sure at the beginning, and I know exactly what I'm going to do or say if the answer is yes or no. I mean, if it's no, obviously we're just going to proceed. But if the answer is yes, here's what's going to happen next, so that I'm not, improvising on the spot and potentially making a mistake.
Yep. And it's the difference between, winning additional business or, eroding the new prospect's confidence. And just a side story, I had a client I was working with. They had a new sales professional on the team. I was coaching them up, and they had a situation just like this. We had prepared for the sales presentation. I coached him up and taught him to ask the question. So he called me right after the meeting. He's like, "Hey, just got done with the sales meeting." And I said, "Oh, how'd it go?" "Well, I think it went pretty well." I said, "Okay, did you ask the most important question?" He said, "Yes, I did." I said, "Good. And what did they say?" "Well, they said, yes, something had changed." I said, "Oh, and then what did you do?" I said, "Well, did that affect the budget that we had allocated for this project?" And I said, "Excellent. And what did they say?" They said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay. Then what did you do?" He said, "Well, then I did my sales presentation." Whoops. Had to go back and retrain on that one. So close, so close, so close.
Exactly. 4 out of 5. He was all the way at the last step on the checklist there, and well.
Yep.
Well, we have got time for just one more story this week, and here we are, less than a week away from Thanksgiving as we record this. And in the journalism trade, there's a certain kind of article we refer to sometimes as an evergreen, and I mean, it's just, you can count on it. It's always going to work for you. And a perennial Thanksgiving evergreen basically is, some corporation out there came out with an idea for something that you can serve your friends and family on Thanksgiving involving their product that probably should not exist. And the winner this year that we're going to be highlighting here on the 5-minute roundup is a soup from the folks at Taco Bell. What they would like you to do is you take some onion, you take some garlic, you saute those, you add some broth. Then you take a bunch of Taco Bell rolled chicken tacos, chop those up a little bit, put those in the broth, take a little heavy whipping cream and a blender, and you got soup. If nothing else, if you have the kind of Thanksgiving gathering where, people tend to get into arguments and so on, if nothing else, you're serving people something that everybody can agree on. This was a mistake.
I think it just upends the whole idea of how to make delicious soup.
They're thinking outside the box. Is that what we believe?
Oh no, man, that was a good one, Rich.
All righty. So on that note, let's just move on here, and thank you very much for watching our latest episode of the 5-minute roundup. If you like the show, you'd like to keep up on future episodes, maybe take a look at a few you've missed in the past. Best thing for you to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube and subscribe to that. Don't forget to click the little bell these days if you want to get notifications when new episodes become available. To read more about the Ingram Micro event this week, we've got more coverage there for you on that, and all sorts of other great information you can use to grow your business. New stuff every day at channelpronetwork.com. Please visit. If you want to learn more about Eric and the services that he provides to his customers, the place to go is ericsimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So we will be back next week, or at least I believe we do during the holiday shortened week. But until then, please enjoy the rest of your week, folks. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.